Well, good morning everybody and a very warm welcome back to the channel. We've had some pretty upbeat news this week from the government in the UK that says that unlocking will start to happen at the end of March and continue in a phased fashion through to the end of June. And that does mean that we hold out great hopes now of at least getting a motorcycle season, hopefully seeing the end totally of this pandemic. But certainly if we stick with the rules for the foreseeable future, we can at least see motorcycling ahead. To that end, I've recently been sent a screen brace for my BMW R1250GS TE Adventure, which also fits the 1200 version of the Adventure and also the 1200 and 1250 GS standards. So if that's of interest to you, stick around and watch this short video. So we'll get to the video shortly, but some of you that watch the channel regularly will know that recently I fitted a TFT Anti-Theft brace to my BMW R1250GS Adventure, and it's gone very, very well, that video, and I'm very pleased for that in two ways. One, it promoted a small British company, and small British companies or small companies around the world with the pandemic will be struggling at this particular time. So we should promote our own industries, and if you're anywhere around the world, promote your industries too. But certainly I'm proud to be promoting a small British company. So that was my first thing. The second thing was, having spoken to them since, they have had a good wave of purchases from my video, and that means that quite a number of my fellow motorcyclists with R1250GS now have their TFTs firmly bolted down and hopefully protected from thieves, or at least move the thieves off to maybe people who aren't quite so well protected. Now you can reference that video up here. A couple of things I'd say subsequent to that video before we get on to today's video is that we now have a version for the R1250RS. A number of you asked in the comments if there was one available. So there is one that will be available in the next couple of 3 weeks. We're at the end of February now, so expect by the end of March for a brace to be available for the R1250RS. And as Mark tells me, if anybody wants to get to his place in the northeast of England, he will happily borrow your bike and try and adapt more, but it's actually physically getting the bikes that is his restricting factor. So that was the first thing. The second thing I would say from that video is I got some criticism on showing a video of something which may encourage criminality. From my point of view, I'm not encouraging a criminal to steal a TFT. Look at the MCN article, look at my video, you will see they were already stealing it. And I don't think for one moment that a criminal is now going to go and steal a TFT because they've seen my video. On the other side of that, I did get some criticism, probably more applicable, is that I showed it being fitted. So now a criminal knows that if they went along with the right tools, they can remove the TFT screen. Now, my argument to that would be that criminals are generally opportunist. If you park your car in an underground garage, they've got plenty of time, plenty of opportunity. If it's parked on the side of the street or in a locked garage or wherever else, then for them to have to do all of that and bring along tools now to remove the TFT, they're going to unfortunately move on to somebody who is less protected. That's my experience. The other thing that I have learned over my working life, I used to sell, for example, a lockpick set and got huge amounts of criticism, including from a national newspaper. And when the national newspaper asked the police should we be selling that equipment, they were very simply told that people only pick locks in films. Generally, criminals go armed with sledgehammers and the like. So anyway, that's a bit of a recap of that anti-theft brace from this same company. So today's video is about the screen brace, and this is a brace to enable you to strengthen your screen, and particularly with the larger screens, to actually stop the screens from wobbling backwards and forwards in the wind, which is certainly more pertinent if you have a GSA screen, whether that's fitted to a 1200 GS, 1250 GS or a GS Adventure, because a lot of people with the smaller screens swap them out for the GSA screen, or whether you've got something like an MRA or a Puig screen that uses the same fitting brackets. You'll find the bigger the screen gets, the more you're going to get this wobble. So Mark from Cymarc Bike Parts sent me a screen brace free of charge for my motorcycle, and in a minute we'll go out and fit it, but first of all let's take a look at it on the bench. Okay, so I'm not quite sure whether this is the standard retail packaging, but basically I've received two bags. This one here which has all of the hardware in it, and this one here which has the instructions in it, a sticker, a card from Cymarc Bike Parts, and actually a letter here from Mark. So let's get ahead and open these up. This one, least significantly I guess, that has the fitting instructions and the contents list on it. So we've got that. It has a Cymarc label, sticker, so we have that. It has Mark's card here, and it has what is actually quite a good letter here. This is just the letter to Nick, but what I particularly like about this is the artificial coffee stains and the scribblings on the bottom of the letter, which we all have. So anyway, let's stick that to one side, and let's open the bag now of hardware. So there are the actual braces themselves. That's the hardware pack, and as we had with our TFT brace, there's the quality assurance slip, all ticked and signed by actually Mark himself, and dated as to when that went through. So just a nice little touch that everything has been checked off. And then if we open the bag here, we will see that we've got a little bag of bits. All of the fasteners are stainless steel, and I think that's again probably 5mm stainless steel bolts. Then we've got spring washers, penny washers, standard washers, locking washers, and then these thumb screws will patently be to hold the brace in position. And I think the important thing that we also need to think about with this is that whilst we're fitting a brace either side of the screen to stop the screen vibrating, we can actually loosen these with our thumbs, with our fingers, without using tools, in other words, and still retain the movement of the screen with the standard BMW screen height adjuster, and then tighten these back up again in place. And we'll show you that when we're actually out on the bike. And I think that's pretty important, because I don't think I'd want to necessarily fit a screen brace if I didn't still have the ability to raise and lower the screen, because I do like, when it's particularly hot, to actually have the screen fairly low, so I do get some cooling air into my face. Now in here we've got the brackets. There's the bracket here which actually runs the movement of the screen when we're adjusting it, and then these are the braces which actually bolt to the bracketing, I suspect somewhere in the area that we actually bolted the TFT Anti-Theft brace. So all of that said, very simple packet of goods, very comprehensive instructions here. And in fact, they do also have YouTube videos if you want to take a look at those, but hopefully my one here will help you to do that. So let's go out to the bike. I slightly hate bringing her out in this weather because it's beautiful and we're locked down. But here we are, out with the bike. So let's make a start. So here's the bike, and as you can see, my bike is fitted with a standard adventure screen. So this is the standard BMW R1250GS adventure screen. Some of you may well have bigger screens, or certainly as big a screen if you've got the Puig or the MRA or the Wunderlich, for example, and there are many others. Obviously if you've got a GS standard screen, it's a little bit smaller, but quite a lot of GS riders actually fit the GSA screen so that they do actually have the protection that this larger screen offers. But as you can see, with this in the upper position, so the highest screen position, it is quite flexible because it's obviously only bolted by 2 bolts at the lower part of the screen, right at the bottom of the screen. So as you can see, there's quite a degree of flexibility. So obviously if you're in either high speed or high wind or both, you do find that this can vibrate quite a bit. So we're going to fit the Cymarc screen brace now, and let's see what it's like afterwards. Okay, so the first things we're going to do is remove these 2 inner screen trim brackets. So this screw here and this screw here. They're Torx 25, and once we've removed those, I'm going to reuse the existing fastener rather than the ones that are supplied, because I'm pretty sure the ones that are in there will be long enough. And then we're going to fit to that the mushroom bracket. So the mushroom brackets are going to go this on either side. So we'll take that first. Now we won't tighten those in yet, we'll just do them loosely because this is a situation where we've got to fit everything and then tighten it afterwards. Next, and only because it gives us a little more room, we're going to remove this front winglet here, which is a case of taking out this Torx 25 screw, this Torx 25 screw, this one on the front above the headlight, and then one in the same position on the other side. So we'll do that now. So with all 4 screws out, we'll now lift off the front winglet. Okay, so now we've removed the front winglet, we can now access the 2 bolts that we're going to use to hold the braces on, and these are the same ones actually as we did in the recent video to hold on the TFT screen protector. So these are the 2 replacement bolts that we had. You may well find that you've got Torx ones there if you've not got the anti-theft brace fitted, but we're going to take these ones out now to fit the side brackets. So importantly now, we did have nuts the other side of these 2 here, but obviously this is the brace that's going to be fitted, or at least one of the braces. It's not the right side, it's actually the wrong side one, but you can see here that it's got riv nuts which are riveted into here, so we're now not going to require the locking nuts that we've just taken out on the other side of this unit to clamp the whole lot into place. Just a very quick interesting point here, I'd obviously fitted the Cymarc Bike Parts TFT Anti-Theft Brace, which we saw in the previous video, and that gave us some M6 5mm hex-headed bolts like so, and obviously a little washer, a standard 6mm washer like so. Of course, on the other side of this we had a 10mm 6mm threaded lock nut. We don't of course have that lock nut anymore, so if you have already fitted the TFT brace, we should be taking this bolt actually out in either side and making sure that we do fit the spring washer that comes with the screen brace, not the TFT brace, the screen brace, and then put the standard washer back on. And the reason for that, of course, is we used to be in a nylock locking nut on the back of here, whereas now we are actually just into a riv nut which doesn't have any locking properties, so this spring washer will help us to lock that down. So we've now taken the nuts off the back of the bolts, which are here and here, and hopefully now you'll be able to see there's one protruding here and one protruding just here. And now we're going to attach the brace to those, again loosely. So it's almost certainly best to go in bottom end first. So I'm going to slot the bottom end down through here and just make sure that this mushroom cap is out of the way. And then eventually you'll find that that will drop down into place, like so, and we should be very accurately over the top of the 2 nuts. You can probably just about see that here and here. So I'm now going to get my 5mm Allen key and tighten them up. Now you'll notice that I've not done them up tight, but you can now see that this all lines up with the thumb screw at the top here, and that's going to be the next thing that I put in on this side. Now what we're actually going to do now is we're going to fit the thumb screw onto here, but importantly we're going to use this toothed washer, locking washer, and then a penny washer, so a 6mm penny washer goes on there like so, but importantly to allow you to effectively act as a sort of a bearing surface, we're going to fit the other penny washer that comes with it in the middle like a sandwich, like so. So if we slide that down to the brace, and simply fold her in like so. Hopefully you can see that there's a penny washer either side of this bracket, which will act as a bearing surface. In fact, if you felt so inclined, you could put a little grease on there as well, but we're not going to bother about that at the moment. Everything is only loosely finger tight, so we're going to fit the other side, and then we'll come back to you once we've fitted the other side and make the final adjustments. So now we have the screen brace fitted, and hopefully we can see the riv nut up at the top of here. There's another one here that's underneath this TFT Anti-Theft brace that I fitted. Might be able to see that one over there as well. So that's the main brackets, and then these mushroom brackets are fitted to the top fitting of the screen, and then with the thumb screws here. And if I just loosen the thumb screws off, probably need to do those relatively tight just to make sure they don't come undone when you're using them, but that does mean then that you can very easily use the standard BMW screen adjustment and then just whack those back up again just to finish it. So that's it. The fitting of the cymarcbikeparts.co.uk screen brace for the BMW R1200 or 1250GS and GS Adventure. Pretty pleased with it. Can still use the standard BMW height adjuster for the screen by simply slackening the two screws either side. Nice and firm, no screen wobble, which I'm really pleased about. If you've liked the video, give us a thumbs up. That really helps the channel ranking on YouTube. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, because I love the comments and I do try to answer 100% of those. And if you like the videos that I produce, be great to have you along as a subscriber as we approach 5,000 subscribers. In the meantime, stay safe, ride safe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.